So here's a piece of insanity. CNN reporter argues that recession proclamations are racist. Huh? Really? Racist. Joining me now, Katie Pavlich, townhall.com editor and Fox News contributor, and Mercedes Schlapp, former White House strategic comms director and co-chairman of CPAC or originator of CPAC.
Whatever.
I work for her more than I do for anybody else. Look, ladies, I don't want to spend too much time on this or get into the weeds about what is a recession or not. I'm just trying to figure out, Mercy, I'll start with you. I know you hang out with these CNN people, so maybe you can help me explain how the people who make the decisions on recession, it's an academic group, are racist, or that recessions are racist, or something's racist here. I just don't understand it. And I was just hoping you'd take a stab at it, and then Katie.
Well, first of all, I do not hang out with Ana Navarro. That would be like my whatever comment from who's a CNN contributor. Let's be clear. Although there are some, there's some good folks there as well. But look, I think for the most part, we got to keep in mind here that what really bothers me about this comment, and I'm sure you felt the same way, Larry, is the fact that, the recession actually impacts minorities at such a grave level. It actually disproportionately impacts them and their families. And for this CNN senior business reporter to basically make this argument, this excuse that it's because you have these white economists and these men who are basically making these predictions is, I think, simply an outrage. It just shows how identity politics has penetrated into every single aspect of our lives and into this reporting, into what you call so-called journalism, where they're putting a racial lens to this of saying that these white economists are the ones calling the recession and that's why they could be wrong. I mean, Larry, you've been in this business longer than anyone here, and I mean, you must be just insulted by what you've read. I
don't know, I was shocked by it, Katie. I couldn't figure out whether this reporter wants a recession or doesn't want a recession, but also the people on this so-called dating committee are distinguished economists. They didn't cause the recession, but again, I don't know what was she driving at? All white economists are racist. I mean, they secretly own, slave-owning plantations. I just did not understand this. And as Mercy said, this is a business reporter. I mean, I hate to see what the CNN political reporters are like. Anyway, take a whack at it, and then I want to move on to another goofball named Mayorkas.
Well, I don't know how we got to a place in this country where it's okay to talk about any group of people in that way. You wouldn't be able to talk about any other group of any other race that way. It's inappropriate. It's racist, and it has nothing to do with the math that determines whether the United States is in a recession or not. And it's detrimental when it comes to this kind of thinking. Math is racist in schools now, so kids can't take AP classes to better their future. So they're going to get rid of them rid of those classes for everybody who wants to maybe make a few steps in advance to getting to college. So it's a ridiculous thing to say. It's a despicable thing to say, and it's tolerated somehow simply because white men are the target, when that's relevant to whether their math adds up or whether they're really determining a recession based on GDP growth being negative for 2 quarters. Target the work, target what the argument they're making in terms of the economics of a recession. Don't go after their race. It's irrelevant.
Target the inflation that they caused. By the way, don't forget, roads and highways are racist also, according to Buttigieg. But I want to read, let me just I want you to listen to the Department of Homeland Security, Alejandro Mayorkas, explaining the open border. Take a listen to this, please.
The migration that is occurring throughout the hemisphere is reflective of the economic downturn, increase in violence throughout the region, the result of the COVID-19 pandemic, the results of climate change.
All right, Katie, you got to help me with this. The open borders and the 2 million a year, maybe 3 million a year illegals is a result of climate change. Climate change, Katie Pavlich. You got to help me.
No, the illegal immigration that we're seeing is a direct result of the Biden administration's open border policies. I mean, these people have been wearing Biden T-shirts. They've said, we're specifically coming here because we know once we get inside, we won't be deported and we'll be able to stay no matter what excuse we give for the reason being there. And the illegal immigration that you're seeing is strictly economic. They're not coming because of climate change. They're coming because the door is open and they believe that they can come here and get work. And that's exactly what they're doing. So it's not a matter of some excuse, many of them, that Mayorkas gave in that interview to excuse the deliberate nature of what the Texas counties have declared as an invasion this week. That's something that he's just trying to use as a distraction away from the policies that they've implemented that have caused this catastrophe and a political catastrophe for them as well when it comes to these Texas counties in congressional districts voting Republican.
Mercy, I just can't get this out of my head. Climate change is affecting the border, not ending Remain in Mexico, not ending Title 42, not stopping the wall, not enforcing the laws. Katie was mentioning climate change. You think that's going to fly with the majority of Americans and American voters, that the whole problem down there at the border is a climate change problem?
Right. Well, Larry, it's excuses, excuses, excuses once again coming from this administration. They fail to tackle this problem head on. I do believe that it's their religion to be such a proponent for open borders. And the mere fact is they've created a magnet for so many illegal immigrants to come into the United States. We're talking about right now over 1 million have come in just this past year, and the numbers continue to grow. And quite frankly, if they're going to focus, you have to think about it. They've inserted climate change into every single part of the Biden administration. And now it's about, let's insert that as being an excuse for the open borders policy. And I think that, look, the American people have just had it. It is almost easier to come to this country illegally than it is to apply to become a legal immigrant into the United States. That has to change. We need to put a stop to it, and it's why you keep seeing more and more Americans reject the Biden administration, especially when it comes to this open border chaos that we're seeing that's overwhelming our Border Patrol agents. You know,
it's interesting. I wonder, I've never interviewed Mr. Mayorkas, and I doubt if I ever will, but if I did, I kind of wanted to know, what's the counter theory? Is the counter theory here, if we ended fossil fuels and only had renewables, people would stop coming over the border? I mean, I'd be interested in hearing. I'm just into logic. You know me.
It's a great point.
Yeah. I'll probably never have a chance. Katie Pavlich, thank you very much. Mercedes Schlapp, thank you very much. Both of you, terrific.
Thanks, Larry.